Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Atari A to Z, an exploration of the Atari 8-bits library of games, some of which I grew up with, and some of which are new to me. Today is one of the format. This is Gorf, originally an arcade game by Bally Midway, and adapted for the Atari 8-bit by Roklan Corporation. This is a multi-part shoot-'em-up, and probably the best thing to do is just explain as we go. In a fun bit of trivia, this was originally intended as a Star Trek the Motion Picture spin-off, but partway through development they realised that the concept for the game didn't really fit in with what was going on with Star Trek the Motion Picture. Not that anyone really knew what was going on with Star Trek the Motion Picture, but anyway, it was adapted into this. Oops. And you can still see some remnants of that original license in there, by the fact the spaceship at the bottom has a passing resemblance to the distinctive shape of the Enterprise. But otherwise, this first bit is clearly an adaptation of the Space Invaders formula. The arcade original actually had a stage that is a Galaxians ripoff, but this was removed from the home ports for various reasons. So instead we've got 4 missions instead of the full 5. Oh dear. Very much out of practice. We've got 4 missions instead of the 5 that were in the arcade original. But this is still a really good and very difficult game. Oh my god. Right. So that's how the first 2 missions work. Let's try that again and see if we can do a bit better. So the first stage, as we've already seen, is Astro Battles, which is Space Invaders type format. You can fire 1 shot at a time, but unusually you can actually trigger a new shot at any time. And as long as you're holding down the fire button, that shield at the bottom will allow you to fire through it. But as soon as you release the fire button, the shield will come back and protect you from a few hits from the enemies. But the nice thing is, rather than having to wait for your shot to get to the top of the screen before you can fire again, you can just keep pressing the fire button and you'll see that it just comes out like that. And in fact, in some situations, that can be to your advantage, because you can use it as almost as a sort of shield for the incoming enemies. Or you can just... oh my god. Or you can just let it fly. So this second mission here, laser attack. Your main threat are those blue things that are firing those long line lasers at you. After that, we move on to Space Warp, which is a sort of quasi 3D segment. Reminds me a bit of Gyrus, another G game. And you'll see enemies come out of that little formation in the middle. And so you need to either avoid or kill them, while avoiding those shots they're firing at you as well. Very difficult to hit. Again, this is one where you kind of need to let your shots travel up the screen, because if you fire too rapidly, then you're just never going to get close enough to actually hit anything. Okay, so that's mission 3. Let's try again. When I was a kid, I always thought the alien dude who bounces across the top was called Gorf. But apparently Gorf actually stands for something like Galactic Orbital Robotic Force or something like that. Even though they clearly look like Space Invaders. As everyone knows, Space Invaders are not robots, they are aliens. Quite different. Come here. There we go. Right. Right. Those yellow things are really nasty, because they're so fast. Alright. That's marginally better than last time. There we go. Right, and on to the Space Warp. This stage is probably helpful if you can develop a bit more of a sense of timing than I've apparently got. There we go. And sort of lead your shots, if you like. There we go. That's going better, isn't it? And it's important to actually hit the things if you want to get some decent scores, because obviously you're not going to get points if you're just avoiding them. Oh, missed that one. This was quite an unusual shoot 'em up at the time, in the fact that you could move up and down as well as left and right. So that immediately distinguished it from stuff like Space Invaders. There we go, and on to stage 4, which is actually a sort of boss fight. So in this one, the flagship at the top is the one with a shield like you have in the first level. And it's up to you to blast your way through it and destroy the flagship while trying to avoid it dropping things on you. And you'll see as you fire at it, it's actually dropping chunks of itself off at you, and I believe those can destroy you as well. There we go. Nicely done. See that? Counted for a pretty spectacular cutscene back in the early 80s. Then after that you go back to the beginning and do it all again, but harder. And that's Gorf. That's everything there is to this game. But this was a favourite growing up because it's one you can play and have a quick bit of fun with. Or if you feel like really training your skills, you can spend a bit more time with it and try and master each of the 4 stages. I mean, sure, it's not very original, but it is a really fun take on the old school sort of fixed shooter format. Oh dear. It's a shame the Galaxians level got cut, but you know, this level has got certainly got elements of that in there as well. Oh dear, and we're dead. Alright, I think I've embarrassed myself enough with this game. So that was Gorf from Midway and Roklan Software. Yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.